This is Glow TV. New episodes every week.
Hello and welcome to Glow TV. This is where we take you through issues happening in Nigeria, cutting across different fields, different spaces. We talk about insecurity, health, agriculture, politics, education. The list is enlarged. And today we have topics to discuss. We'll be picking them from those salient issues happening in Nigeria. And as usual, I don't do this alone. I have with me in the studio my co-anchor that will be helping us to dissect some of these issues that have been happening in Nigeria, and we'll look at it critically. Maybe in the meantime, or probably some other time, you would have the privilege to be part of the conversations where you get to send your SMS to us and then we relate to you and to the general public. My name is Comfort Omolafe. Joining me this beautiful day on the program is
Mike Alim Obafemi is my name. People call me MC Olumiko. Welcome on board and many thanks.
How are you doing, MC Olumiko?
I'm fine. You can see the weather is cool, calm, and transiting into a new season. But we can't complain. We have to thank God for
the festive season is fast approaching.
Of course.
And of course, the environment where we are in is already speaking, and there are some things that might not really want everybody to get involved in the festivity period. And those are one of the issues that we'll be looking at today on the program. You're welcome to Glow TV chat room. And very quickly, let's look at insecurity. Right. A whole lot has been happening and so many things have been going on in the papers. We have it here based on what is happening, not just today or anytime.
The wave of it.
Yes, the wave of it. Anytime you're listening to this podcast, anytime you're watching us, we're looking at Safe School Project. Now, these things have been reduced based on abductions of pupils in different, especially in the northern parts of the country. Despite recurring attacks on schools across the country, 30 states have yet to implement the federal government's Safe Schools initiative, and then we begin to wonder that for how long will we continue like this? This is not just happening. We've been having series of kidnappings here and there. We have the cheaper girls during the Jonathan era, historically, and now we're having another one here. I don't know if there was a time we had the Chukun girls. Now we have girls from Maga. That's where the incident happened in KB State. So now, where do we go to from here? There are other things that they should benefit. The northerners should benefit. Students, not just northerners because they're Nigerians, but from the northern part of the country should benefit. And they're not benefiting from it because of insecurity. Now, what do you think that we can actually do, M. Solumiko, to curb the wave of insecurity? Because we really need to put an end to this menace.
Of course. See, Comfort, I think that there are factors, to look at because historically, we got introduced to this idea in between 2017, 18, 19, 20, after COVID-19. We had one pre-COVID-19 or just a couple. But after COVID-19, we had a series of school attacks. We used to hear these things, during foreign news in bulletins across mainstream media where they would report that, kids are being abducted or maybe a shooting happened at a school, and of course the government, was taking effort to make sure that retraining teachers on how to repel these kind of attacks. Equally, training the kids on how to safeguard themselves while they're learning. We have even seen schools that have gone the extra mile of putting cameras in classes and just leaving the toilet areas. Why? Because they would have personnel at the door of the toilet. So in case somebody entered the toilet and wants to actually perpetrate evil in a school, you would want to knock like 3 times. And if they don't respond, you have the right to break in and to ask questions. You get? Because if you put a camera at the toilet area, you might be exposing the privacy of another person or evading their privacy. So basically, I think this is like a model that the African countries, especially Nigeria, could copy. Looking at another factor is this. Why are schools being targeted? Schools are being targeted.
Not even just school girls.
Yes, schools are being targeted because, schools serve as a bedrock for our society. we have different layers. We have family, government is there, we have society, we have associations around. But the school is where every kid from home goes out to learn. And the school is where every kid, every one of us have gone for one particular type of education or the other, then returning back home. Most kids actually start their education from home. But school is like, the agreed institution that is responsible, for educating the children of any nation around the world. And of course, why they are the target is because the future leaders are there, and kids, or let me say students, being the most important factor or part of any society's future, become a target, because when you go towards them, the family is affected. Every company is affected, because people who are in every company belong to a family and they belong to a base. So basically, when they are targeted, it is the society at large that is being targeted. That is two. Number three, another factor is this. School basically is just one of the places where we learn. Kids tend to exchange amusement and all of that, because it's a harmless area. It's a particular area of our society that you do not think about harm. Even though we know that bullying happens in school, some fail, some pass. Hooliganism, sometimes starts in some schools, but basically maybe not elementary schools. And another thing that I want us to look at is the fact that how are our school built? At what meters are they to a safe area? If you have a school that is, too detached from a road or a boulevard, it exposes the school to, attacks. Because if such a school is even has attack within itself, you can have, older students go through the fence, get down at the next street and go. So basically, I think in Nigeria, we have to start thinking about how to police our school. Some people don't like the idea of policing school. They say, don't bring policemen close to the school because, they will bear arms, firearms. And of course, in Nigeria, if you are a police or maybe you are a law enforcement agent and you are attached to an institution, you are expected not to bear arms, to have other materials that you can use to neutralize an offender or maybe somebody who is trying to practice hooliganism and all of that. But nowadays, how many policemen are we going to deploy to safeguard our schools, even when our armed forces are not, they are not big in terms of, a number of personnel that we have? Of recent, we have heard it in the news that, presidency, especially the president, has sanctioned, new recruitments. 20,000 for police, up to 3,000. Thank you. Approved. Then maybe 100,000, close to 100,000 for the armed forces and all of that, especially the military. These things are, they are like the effort that you can commend the government for, but they are like soft efforts, not a particular effort that you can quickly see the returns of those kind of efforts. So I think, the Safe School Initiative was started some years ago, but it wasn't implemented well. And I think those who started it might need to bring back the manual and give it to the new government and let them study which area. And I'm afraid that some monies could have been put, to push the idea. But that idea is nowhere to be found now, because I can't trace anywhere in Nigeria that the Safe School Initiative that you have any standing order at any school uniformly that you can find at any school.
All right. Do you really think that even having policemen around would solve it, or security personnel is enough? Don't you think we need to have the men in the space, on air, military men who would be watching over what is happening in different parts of the country, not just physical, not just on land, even on air? Because these things, it's a well-calculated attempt. And may her soul rest in peace. This lady who died on, I have to mention her name, on Arise TV a couple of months ago, the house where she was staying was a government reserved area, Sumto Chuku. They had security personnel there. And they were also injured. So do you think that this is enough? Having policemen, whether armed or not armed, at the security, do you think this is enough? Don't you think we need to have them? They really need to start working. They really need to put them right there on air, not just on land.
Comfort.
Just like we have the naval officers, we have the ones who are on air, we have the ones on the sea, on the land, on the land. Air. So let's have policemen more on air.
I think,
because this thing, if we need to, for how long, since I've been young, I've heard Nigeria has been a developing country. I mean, I'm over 3 decades now. Nigeria is still developing. Even our uncles, our aunties, during their era, it was developing, and we are still developing at this time.
Developing.
For how long will it continue? Is it until they wipe up all the girls in our nation before they now, put an end to this menace? I think it is not enough to have even security men on post
I
on
agree,
land.
I
By
agree.
air too. And then why girls?
Well,
Why are they not abducting men? Mixed schools where we have girls and boys. Why just the girls? We had the Chibok girls the other time. Or where is Leah Sharibu? Where is she now? What are she's been sold out to another
She's still been
country,
held captive,
or she's
I
still
think.
there, or she's expired and they need new intakes? These are questions begging for answers. We need the federal government to do more. Not just, recruiting officers. Where are they designated to? We need more people on air. So they could, in foreign countries, before anything they would have spotted. We even see it in movies. They have their camera, they have this microscope where they can see from afar. Not just even on the land. Even some of them will be helicopters. We have different helicopters. We have politicians, people buying private air force. Buying private jets. Politicians, the wealthy ones. Right? Why not invest more in the architecture? Buy more jets for them. Let them fly on air. Let them see what is happening everywhere.
we're in a country
not just
where
in the north.
we're in
Every
a country
part of
where
the country.
we're in a country where
Because we never
a lot
can
of things
tell
are said,
whose turn it to
but
be
not
tomorrow.
done. A lot of things are said and not done. Do you know that insecurity starts with a state of mind, not when it is acted? Insecurity is from the mind. If you are in your house and the curtains are moving unnecessarily, you could suspect that maybe you have an invader in your house. And you could check again by owning all of the lights and policing the perimeter and discovering that it was just, a different breeze for the
imagination.
night or your imagination. So it's actually a state of mind. And I think we should not let it affect us, so much before we begin to take action, especially, concerted effort. See, most of the time when you talk about stuff like this, I like to look at working models. What are the working models elsewhere that we can copy? Because Yorubas will say, the horse in the front is, always, the one leading the way.
Example to follow.
The example for others. So I think I still go back to the factors. If we are talking about Air Force policing from above, Land Force policing on the ground, Water Force policing from the marine, policing from the waters, how about intelligence gathering? That's one. Number 2, how about schools are equipped with security alert materials? How about schools, teachers are trained on how to neutralize an attacker if they are not more than 1 or 2, what to do? Sometimes how to psychologically psych them out of the activity that they have come to, perpetrate. Because elsewhere, I'll continue to use US as an example because you've seen situations where there are buttons in the classroom that the class teacher can press under the desk. And the school security will be at alert. And not just the security force of the school will come. There is a security post at a distance to the school. And they will move, not just into the school, sometimes from another ground way, and you will just see them close to the window of the class. In less than 5 minutes, they will be there. And when they are there, what they would definitely do is what? Is to try and speak to these people, maybe who are holding a gun, who are holding machete, or any other thing that they want to use to perpetrate the evil, to harm others, and they'll try and speak to them. That, of course, this is the advantage that you have if you stop and you don't commit this crime. But if you commit this crime, they will read riots to them. You get? And the class teachers actually know what to do. They've been trained not to provoke the attackers. They've been trained on what to say to the students immediately they notice somebody, breaking into their classes, so that the student can maybe. Okay, I saw a clip online where in Japan, kids are taught that if there is an attacker in their class, the next thing that they should do is all of them to leave their desk and to go to a corner of the class. And when they go to the section of the corner, is to cover each other till the last layer of kids, and the last layer of kids will now face. You get? Only 2 or 3 would face and the others will face down. Why? Because they don't want kids to see somebody who is bearing arms. Because the kids might go back and replicate that. It could traumatize them. And I've seen a situation where if there is a fire outbreak and security is threatened, kids are expected to use their clothes, cover their respiratory organs, and of course put their hand on the next person and and tow out till they get out. And equally, they are supposed to open the way and to let the girls pass first before the boys. You get? So this is enshrined in the educational system of those countries. So I think Nigeria can copy countries who have a workable system, and we can decide, to have CCTV camera across the hallways of our classroom, including the classroom, and also across. Okay, let me give you an example. Charlie Kirk, who is an activist and a supporter of Donald Trump, was attacked this year around October. He was, murdered. He was murdered in cold blood while speaking, to a white-dominated school and environment. He was allegedly killed by a youngster. And in minutes that this thing happened, the media cooperated with the local authorities on ground by carrying different angles of the campus. Because he was shot while speaking to people in the crowd. And of course, paramedics were fast there because they already been there. They tried to resuscitate him. And of course, they couldn't do that. Then they decided to lift him in the ambulance and move him with a private vehicle with oxygen to move to the nearest hospital. But while they are doing that, the cameras in the school area was pointing at different direction to try and look at how many crowd of persons did we have before the shot, and immediately after the shot, how many people moved and escaped. It was normal to escape this scene because people want to run to safety, but they were examining the tapes to look at suspicious activities, and they saw one, and that one was one of the persons who climbed the roof and got down. And after getting down, he ran in a certain direction, and he was suspected amongst every other target. And he was the one that was handpicked. At immediately almost 30 minutes, almost 1 hour, they were able to determine a prime suspect, even if the person is still in custody and was a youngster. And he speaks volume about what you said earlier, that the government and private institutions, because not only government schools now, private schools as well, they need to invest in technology, put infrastructure in place that could help us mitigate the attacks. And equally, if attacks happen, manage the attacks so that it does not deteriorate and kids, getting hurt.
Or even give us clue to finding solutions. So we need more, just like I said, investing in technology. Let's see where we can have CCTV cameras in all of this, because whether you're they should mandate it now. There's a time when they said organizations, supermarkets should have CCTV cameras on the streets of Lagos. It was one time on newspapers and it was everywhere on social media. So, but we want it now in our schools, both government schools and private schools. Can we just have CCTV cameras? I mean, these persons, yes, well calculated attempt.
Will the parents pay if a private school wants to have a CCTV camera?
They should be able to pay. You sending your child to a private school, I mean,
because they might want to increase fees.
They should do that. Economy, we'll get there. We're still going to talk about economy. But let's talk about insecurity first. We need to safeguard our people. We can't just allow people keep dying like that. And then the other time Trump said there's a Christian genocide in Nigeria. We don't want to go there. But we all do know that there is insecurity in Nigeria. The schools are not safe. Even here, we don't even know what happens next.
Not just schools. People are being abducted.
That's what I'm saying, that we're not even on TV now. We don't know what happens once we move out of this place. We're not safe. There's no now that we don't.
Nowhere too safe and nowhere too unsafe.
We no longer have VIPs again. Escorts going with VIPs. So we are not VIPs, but we'll move on to that very quickly. That's enough said about insecurity, and we hope that the federal government.
Before we wind down fully on that, Aline Dume, a senator in Nigeria, 7th senator, said on a national television program yesterday, and he concluded by saying, instead of he said instead of attaching orderlies and security personnel so much to individuals, why don't we have a safe area? That if we have a safe area, there will not be need to attach security personnel, per person to people. That if the area is safe, why attach a policeman to yourself? Because the area is safe already. So there is no need to attach 3 or 4, 5 policemen to yourself. Because the area is safe. You can drive out, you can play out with your kids. But if the area is not safe, that is when we begin to attach policemen and law enforcement agencies to ourselves. So the best thing is to make the area safe. Not just for schools, for in our neighborhood and environment, the family areas, including neighbors and heads of communities. Find a way to secure the area. If the area is secure, people are going to feel safe.
All right, thank you very much, and that's how much you can take on today's edition of Glow Chat Room. We hope you learned 1 or 2 things, and until some other time when we return on the program. Okay, we're going on a short break now. Please stay tuned. All right, thank you so very much. Just talking about the VIP's withdrawal from the escort withdrawal from the VIP, and of course, following the withdrawal of 11,566 policemen, by the authorities, prominent Nigerians, have reviewed plans to apply to the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps for orderliness and security escort. So, Olumiko, you can now decide if you want to go somewhere and you think you need policemen. You don't need to go get the assistance of a policeman and just go to the NSCDC office and tell them we need officers. We might just be having something to do on Glow TV and okay, please, we no longer need policemen. We need NSCDC officials.
Well,
to come
in general, we all need law
enforcement. You have to apply, and you have to be very important. Now, these very important persons, people usually attach it to money. Influential. There are people that are not wealthy and are very important persons in this country, and they don't go about with escorts. I mean, anytime even just a local government chairman wants to pass it, you see them siren blowing everywhere
because
and all that.
Because the area is not safe, one, and because some want to show off. To some, it's a sign of strength. That the more people I have for a convoy, the more respect I will get somewhere.
All right, we hope the right things are done immediately, not tomorrow, not some other time. The time is now, and that's how much we can take on today's edition of Glow Chat Room on Glow TV. Until next week when we return, I'd like to say a very big thank you to MC Olumiko or Mike Obafemi Halim. Thank you for coming on the program this morning. It's always a pleasure doing this with you. My name is Comfort Omolafe. On behalf of our executive producer, Dr. Ezekiel Akonde, and to my producer, Mojisola Oladele, and engineer Joe, this is yours truly saying bye for now.
This is Glow TV. New episodes every week.